As the Eagles prepare to go to the Super Bowl, thanks in large part to the moves of Howie Roseman, we have now former Falcons general manager Thomas Dimitroff, Sumer Sports. First question for you is, what would you say is Howie's superpower?
Oh, you know it's confidence. You know it's intelligence. You know it's the well-rounded side of what he's doing. He is one of the things he does, and he surrounds himself with a team of teams, right? He's got great people around him. In no way is he paranoid or insecure about having really smart, good football people around him. Obviously, Howie's very smart. What I've heard, by the way, from inside the building, they rave about the fact that Howie comes in by trade as a legal guy years ago, and he works diligently on evaluating and always working on his craft. That's a big thing for a general manager who doesn't necessarily have scouting, at the core in their background. He's done a great job that way, and he'll trade the hell out of it. You know that. Back in the day, I don't know if I told you guys this before, early on in our careers together, every time he'd call me about trading a second-round pick, and I'm like, Howie, this is a down-the-line guy, but he would always ask, and to his credit.
I believe that the 10 or 11 years that you guys were concurrently general managers, I think you only made 2 trades together. Do you remember what those 2 trades are?
No, please tell me, because I, for some reason, can't.
2012, you acquire Asante Samuel for a 7th-round pick.
Yep.
Worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that's good value right there.
And then 2019, you acquire Jonathan Cyprien and give a 7th. No, you get Cyprien and a 7th for Duke Riley and a 6th.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mid-season trade.
Yeah, the Duke Riley thing. And where is Duke these days? I don't even know where.
He was Miami.
He was with Miami.
Yeah. Did he ever do anything with you guys? I mean, really?
Special teams made him.
Yeah. And that's what he was. I mean, we expected a little bit more from good guy and all that. So, yeah, I remember those picks.
I imagine there were many calls along the way and only 2 consummated.
A lot of great calls and a lot of great conversations. And we were a part of, we have international ties as well, some of the leadership levels. And there's some really good people out there that do great things in leadership. And that's another thing I say, Howie's so open-minded to listening to people out there like the R.C. Bufords of the world and the Sam Prestis of the world or the Cashmans of the world. So there's some good people out there. If you're growing, during that time when Howie had his little hiatus, he went out and continued to grow. That's a big deal. People tell me right now, they're like, T, like you've been out for 3 years. What's going on? I said, well, I haven't been drinking wine in Bordeaux for 3 straight years. I've been working for this company I'm working for now, Sumer Sports, which is a data football company which I'm excited about being a part of.
I'm curious. Every organization is structured differently. The Eagles for 14 years were a coach-centric organization with Andy Reid. Now they're much more of a GM-centric organization. I think that's fair to say in terms of the control Howie has, the influence that he has. What are the pros, the cons, the pluses and minuses of both structures?
Yeah, look, I mean, I really personally love the GM structure because not that you can't have a very omnipotent and strong head coach. You should. But you should let the GM manage a lot of that other stuff. I continue to hear from guys, even with Dan Quinn, the tail end of our career together in Atlanta, and even talking with them now. A lot of these guys the coaches want to coach the players.
Sure.
What's happening now is a lot of the people say he needs to be the CEO of the team. Don't mistake that for the CEO of the building because the CEO of the building becomes tough when you get guys out there, coaches who want to roll their sleeves up because the owner is expecting them to be the CEO of it all. And I know that's a play on words.
It's a human dynamic. It's hard to turn down power.
That's right. And I think these guys now know, and Dan Quinn's a perfect example because I think he's a hell of a coach and what he's done there. I know. I just believe that keeping that in perspective is very, very important so that let the GM do a lot of that other stuff, deal with a lot of the other departments, cap and contract, let them pick the players, let them have final football say, final 53. The final football say, we can go round them out. Some head coaches don't want to admit the fact that someone else has final football say. Howie, of course, does, as we understand it. So I think it's long range, and I think it's respected around the league. Not saying that the head coaching-driven one, you get the Bill Belichick or Andy Reid. Those are really good when you get someone in there that can really control that and who do have some long-term sight, right? On the head coaching side, if you have mercurial head coaches in that spot, you know that. We don't need to mention names. There are some guys out there that are great coaches but cannot handle all the other stuff going on. Then you have that organization spinning around. I just think it's a lot easier for a guy who's not on the field coaching to run the organization and keep it calm, keep it thoughtful, and keep it well operational.
And you're dealing on different timelines. Coaches need to win every week. GMs need to think big picture.
Yeah, that's right.
One of my questions for you is one thing we talk about with Howie. He has talked about like the thing that keeps him up at night is the idea that maybe somebody is available who he doesn't know. And we have talked about like the NFL information sort of gossip ecosystem with insiders and other general managers, that Howie is like the nexus of that. He is as plugged in as anybody. How important is that for a general manager?
Oh, you have to be plugged in. You have to have the ability to, anyone picks up your call and you can make the call, and you have to be able to be knowing that you're getting at least semi-true information, right? Because if you get someone that's always trying to BS you, I've always said
it's
this.
a repeated game.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And that's what I always said to people. Like it should be, ultimately your goal should have win-win trades. If you have a reputation for screwing people in this league and today, back in the day it didn't matter. In today's world, if you're the screwer, it's a tough deal, man, because then all of a sudden people are like, screw that guy, I'm not going to deal with him, or I'm going to send him misleading information. There's just a fine line there. And I think, again, and then when you get to the top, people don't want to mess with you. I mean, Howie's at the top of his game. So is Brett Veach, different times in their career. Yeah. These guys are both hitting it strong. I say this, and I hope Howie doesn't get mad at me. I always joke with him. I'm like, Howie's got some... I'm saying playful mobster to them, right? These young GMs out there, they're not going in there just like, let me pick up this call with Howie and that's fine. Like they're thinking, this guy, I got to keep on my toes here because this guy is a master at what he does. And I love Howie. And so I keep telling him, man, these guys are afraid of you now. I said, when did you get from being, the guy that we all kind of communicate with, all the young guys are afraid to do deals with you because you might take them down because you're that smart doing what you're doing.
Last one for me, because I know I'm tight on time here. I've heard you speak about legacy in the front office and kind of bringing up young executives. Howie's been in a situation where there's been a brain drain before, and he's really tried to build that up. How do you maintain that infrastructure in the front office so when you have success, people leave, you still have what you need?
Well, I think it has everything to do with making sure that you're mindful of your pipeline, right? At all levels, and you get those people involved, right? You don't just like push them over there and silo them and expect them to rise up to the occasion when their number's called. You have to get them involved, but you also we talk about this all the time. You look around. I remember being around a draft table when we were doing all the meetings. I'm like, how many of you people want to be GMs? Everyone shoots their hands up. Back in the day, 20 years ago, I just want to be the best personnel director I can be, right? Things have changed. So there's a fine line there. You don't want people doing all their stuff and having their business in every different part of the building. You just need to be mindful. And if you have a good organized side of that, where your directors are taking care of the younger guys, and then you as a GM are taking care of your directors and your AGM and helping them get involved, I think it's incremental again. And I think that's the way to do it. Make sure you're on top of that, keeping everyone involved at the right point.
All right. Thank you so much, Thomas Dimitroff from Sumer Sports. Much more to come on All PHLY.